It's just it vaguely, the way that they're subtle though, very, very much reminded me of the whole controversy around Tumblr a few years back when they were censoring not safe for work content, and there was the specific phrase "female presenting nipple." That's what I just kept thinking about that when I saw that when the Batgirl suit was revealed. I was like, of course, there's a difference with female presenting nipple.
I like the way people I know, like drag queens and stuff, would deliberately toy with that because they'd be dressed all in drag, but they wouldn't have a top on. So Tumblr, like, it's confusing to them. Like, what do we do? Do we censor this? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. No, that's the best part is when people are just trying to mess with Tumblr going like, I don't know what to do. Is this nipple female presenting or no? I can't decide. It's great.
I think Crystal Beth had a whole handling, like frequent guest of the show. Crystal Beth had I remember her having a whole big thing online giving out about like they kept censoring her nipples on Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram does it too.
Yeah, she replaced them with like little pictures of Nicolas Cage.
Oh, perfect. That is brilliant.
I think that might have been her final result. I think initially she got pictures of male nipples.
I was going to say, do that, yeah.
Yeah, just Photoshop them on top of her own, but apparently that was still too much for them. So,
but like, what's a male nipple?
Yeah, it's like, well, you can't complain about that. But, apparently they can.
Yeah, you're not going to win the fight against essentially a robot.
Yeah. Big nipple. That's the
Instagram and Tumblr are in the pocket of big nipple.
Big nipple. Oh gosh.
Oh Jesus. This is the 90s though. The 90s is a very nipple centric decade. I mean, people were very into like Jennifer Aniston in Friends. There was a lot of nipple shots, for instance.
Oh, of course, yeah. I did see a thing with recently future Catwoman Anne Hathaway talking about one of the few Batman films you've seen, Alison. Anne Hathaway been Catwoman. She was on it was a random clip of Ellen I saw where she was talking about
Ellen's cancelled now. You're not allowed to mention Ellen.
Oh, that's what this is one of the reasons I think this is the kind of crap Ellen was getting cancelled for, because she was like saying like, I understand you had this like red carpet mishap. And she's like, oh yeah, when the Princess Diaries came out, I didn't realize the black dress I was in was like sheer.
Oh.
And then I went out and everyone was taking these photographs, and
with
everyone
the flash
thought I was
on.
and everyone thought I was just going topless underneath this dress deliberately, and it was really humiliating, and I hate I was very, very embarrassed, and it really traumatized me because I was just becoming famous, and I thought like, oh, everyone thinks not like. The media had a field day with that. And then Ellen's like, yeah, here's the photo. And she instantly brings it up in front of the crowd.
Oh, no.
And Anne Hathaway's just sitting there like, yeah, that's the one.
See, I mean, honestly, as somebody that has bought a lot of, like, there's, who hasn't seen a top where you're like, oh, this looks good, and then you put it on and you realize, oh, that's a lot more see-through than I in any way intention. It's like, I can see that being like a
especially
an honest mistake, but then it's like an honest mistake made in front of a million cameras as you're getting famous.
That's the problem. And especially female clothes tend to be a lot thinner material. I think because they assume, women buy loads of clothes, so we can just make them dirt cheap. It's fine.
Or they're like, oh, you're going to layer 20 things on to get this. And I'm like, no, I really don't want to do that.
That's awful, though, bringing the picture up. Because if you choose to do that, that's fine. That's your look. That's what you're going for. But if you've actively said to this woman, I was embarrassed, this was not the look I was going for, don't bring the photo up.
Well, that's
I could see going like, oh, I'm gonna, this is a funny story. Actually, no, it wasn't a funny story, and be like, okay, don't have that photo up. But like that's like how a normal person would approach that, going, oh, oops, sorry, I thought that was like you were intentionally like being kind of cool there.
Yeah, you'd think so.
Don't show us that photo. And then it's like, but no, the way that she's like choosing, hey, you were really embarrassed. All right,
let's embarrass you again.
Yeah. Let's bring that back, those feelings back.
Great.
I think it wasn't that's like one of the many examples of like Ellen been terrible with guests, because I think what the big one was. Mariah Carey trying to hide her pregnancy because she was like under 3 months pregnant and she was terrified, like, oh, if I lose the baby, then.
Oh, yeah, you're not meant to bring it up to people at first, are you? In case something happens, because it does.
Yeah.
But that was the thing, because Ellen knew and she wanted to get the scoop on the show. And she was like making Mariah Carey, like, here's some champagne. Why don't you drink it? Why wouldn't you drink the champagne? Mariah?
Oh, God.
And it was just like, oh my, like it was one of the many things that like, here's the endless list of horrible things that Ellen DeGeneres has actually done.
Sometimes people don't even want to have a drink.
Yeah.
Like, just, it's fine.
Not everyone's an alcoholic like me and Niall, you know.